Okay. I don't have access to the computer. It's in the shop, so I hope this works. It's got kind of a different view here. Okay. Okay, we have the hardcore faithful, and I thank you very much for coming on. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, Text 9 and 10. Oh, this looks very... Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tam Adbhutam Balakam Abu Chikshanam Chaturbhujam Shankha Gada Yada Yudham Srivatsa Lakshman Kalashova Kostubam Pitambaram Sandra Payoda Sobhagam Mahahavai Dhurya Karita Kundala Twisha Parish Vakta Sahasra Kutalam Udama Kanch Yangada Kankana Divir Viro Chamanam Vasudeva Aikshita. So look one thing. Vasudeva then saw the newborn child who had very wonderful lotus-like eyes and who bore in his four hands the four weapons Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. On his chest was the mark of Srivatsa, and on his neck the brilliant Kaustuba gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish like a dense cloud, his scattered hair fully grown, and his helmet and earrings sparkling uncommonly with the valuable gem Vaidurya. The child, decorated with a brilliant belt, armlets, bangles, and other ornaments, appeared very wonderful. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. To support the word Adbhutam, meaning wonderful, the decorations and opulence of the newborn child are fully described. As confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Patam Sam Asitam Buddha Sundarangam, the view of the Lord's beautiful form resembles the blackish color of dense clouds. Asita means blackish and Ambuddha means cloud. It is clear from the word Chaturbhujam that Krishna first appeared with four hands as Lord Vishnu. No ordinary child in human society has ever been born with four hands. When a child is born, and when is a child born with fully grown hair? The descent of the Lord, therefore, is completely distinct from the birth of an ordinary child. The Vaidurya gem, which sometimes appears bluish, sometimes yellow, and sometimes red, is available in Vaikuntha Loka. Lord's helmets and earrings were decorated with this particular gem. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Taksur Unmulatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Snapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaibhacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from Los Angeles. I return on Saturday, and then in South Jersey we'll have our swing festival. Of course, the Rath Yatra here is on Sunday. But we have Jagannath deities here. We'll have a little Jagannath festival, and Leela is cooking, and yeah. And I will speak on the significance of Jagannath and the significance of the Rath Yatra festival. Yesterday was very nice. Some of you from New Jersey have been around for a while. Remember Savita Bhattacharya? Certainly Gail does. And her son is just so nice. He came over yesterday and he cooked some prasada, so expertly done. He got over these big clay pots, and what a gentleman. Yeah. Good progeny, good source. So let's put it in context. I think I go back the appropriate amount of time each time. Somehow or other, when that child of Devaki, she was, it's Krishna, and Krishna was in her womb, and she became so effulgent. The face is the index of the mind. The face is the index of the mind, and she appeared so effulgent, and even Kamsa was aware that this may be the death of him, and went in a existential dilemma, concerned about his reputation, which is such an important commodity, actually. One of the most important commodities we have to negotiate the world is the respect that people have for us. Of course, as Vaishnavas, we don't seek respect, but we try to maintain respect because we also have to negotiate the world. Those who are completely bhajananandis and aloof from the world, they may not care. I remember one Bengali godbrother who knew Akinchana Krishna Das Babaji, Prabhupada's godbrother, who Prabhupada said was a Paramahamsa, He He told me a story that Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji would be going from um, ashram to ashram. He wasn't particularly, when the Gaudiya Math broke up, he didn't join any camp because he was just chanting Hare Krishna. So because there was contention between the camps, one person thought that he was going and spreading rumors or something, and the person said, we know you think you're so advanced chanting, but we know you're just a politician and this and that and that. And the Kinchanadas Babaji said, everyone thought I was advanced, but now they see my true nature. So you're just chanting Hare Krishna, you don't have to care about reputation. But as long as you're in Varnashram and have a role to perform, even as a sannyasi, although you don't seek respect, it's not your goal. You're concerned to maintain it, and not just by putting on a show, by actually being respectable. Being respectable. We saw that with Lord Chaitanya when he was innocent. He was just showing affection to a young boy who took shelter of him. But because the young boy had a mother was a beautiful widow, Lord Chaitanya never saw her. One of his disciples warned him, be careful. You have to protect your reputation. So it's not really a dichotomy. Because we don't have that false prestige that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. But if we have a work to do and it's based on, the exchange is based on our competence or our productivity, then that allows us to do our occupation in the world, and we're concerned with that. And if you're a sannyasi and you're supposed to be the guru of all other orders, you're also concerned because your reputation has a lot to do with the faith people have in you. And you also have to protect that for your service. So that's a difference. And then, so Kamsa kept the child, and then he was always thinking. And it was an anxiety because he wasn't thinking in service. He was thinking in terms of a threat to his control. But nonetheless, the emotional connection of fear was powerful. And he achieved a high destination. Of course, he was killed by Krishna. But somehow or other, and our emotional connection with Krishna is favorable. It's favorable. And that's what's so important. And this has to do with this Rath Yatra festival, because the Rath Yatra festival is the festival of taking Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra back to Vrindavan, where Krishna could have, where Srimati Radharani could have an intimate relationship, where in Kurukshetra, where she went to see Krishna, Krishna was a king. And therefore his position covered his romantic feelings because he was surrounded. So his intimate side, which is the full manifestation of his person, couldn't manifest. And Radharani had a relationship with that intimate side. So although Krishna was there, his love could not be manifest, and his full personality as a lover could not be manifest. So somehow this morning, I have to say, I'm not sick, but I feel one time the people that were here, Jamuna Bihari, and he has a very successful business as a health coach and very successful. And he has this machine called the Healing Machine, which was made by this one genius, real genius devotee who has this Veda Academy. And it somehow has something to do with quantum mechanics, and it can measure one's health. So when he got it, he measured me. He measured me, and they first test the prana in the various chakras. And at 6 out of 7 chakras, I got 99 out of 100. And they did it to themselves, and it wasn't nearly that. So I have to have this good karma that I have the prana flowing, and my energy level is always really high. But somehow or other, today it's not. I'm mentioning this because I was making a point, and because somehow the consciousness is a little bit focused in the body, because there's, because there's that fatigue, it couldn't be focused in the mind. And the train of thought in which I was going to make this point of relating Kurukshetra and the Rath Yatra to what I was speaking kind of went. I did somehow or other on Monday, I did do a complete fast, just because I'm traveling here. And I mean, I ate nothing during the day. I fasted, 36, 48 hours, something like that. So maybe it's the purification of the body. But I will go on. So, yeah, I think I remember now. Yeah, so Kamsa, that emotion, and I'm saying how we want that emotion, and what Rath Yatra is a desire. It's God's desire. It's his devotee's desire. It's Srimati Radharani's desire for an intimate relationship with Krishna, which she couldn't have when she saw him in Kurukshetra as a king. And I have famous lines, and one is position covers personality, with his full, and that's what Krishna means. Ete chamsa kalapumsa Krishnas tu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the full, is the full manifestation of God. And the full manifestation of God is Akhila Rasamrita Murti, his complete relationships, his love. And that doesn't come when he was situated as a king. So I remember my other statement, Krishna is God with his guard down. So that's the Rath Yatra. So it's also relevant to us, although we want a respectful relationship with Krishna. Although we want a respectful relationship with Krishna, certainly, we also want an intimate one. And that should be our aspirations. Because right now, we do worship Krishna in awe and reverence. And what a wonderful feeling to have reverence for God. But in our line, Anarpita, Charim Charat, Kurunaya, Vatir Na Kalo, Samarpiyatam, Unatoj Vala Rasam, Subhakti Svayam, never before given by Lord Chaitanya. So Bhakti Swayam, this special bhakti, this love of Godhead and love manifest in relationship, and intimate relationship is more intimate and deep love. And somehow or other, we are connected with that, and that is our aspiration. And that should be our mood in Rath Yatra. But we can't artificially jump to that. We can't be disrespectful to Krishna. We can't be unsurrendered to Krishna. We can't be not dedicated to Krishna and then want Radhe Radhe. No. We have to have a foundation of Sharanagati, of taking refuge of Krishna and seeing that absolute truth as our guide, our refuge, our authority. But we don't stop there in our line. We somehow or other, with that obligation, duty, and reverence, we pray. We pray that let me have this, let me understand my personal relationship with Krishna. And generally, because somehow or other that we have chosen this path or become attracted to this path, it says something about our soul and the nature of our soul. That we are meant constitutionally, Jivera Sarupahoy, Krishnera Nitya Das, we are meant to have this relationship with Krishna. And relationship with Krishna means intimate relationship with God. Because Krishna is allowing us into his home, and where there is no formality, there is intimacy. So Kamsa, he had this fear, but we want this emotional connection of love and intimate love. And how do we get it? Haramadye Sarvashreshte Nama Sankirtan Nira Aparade Poya Paya Premadan. There are 9 processes of devotional service, and chanting the holy name is best. And when done without offense, then one could get this prema, this nirpadi apa prema. Dharmade Sarvashreshte Nama Sankirtan Nir Aparade Poya Paya Premadan. We can get this wealth of this prema. So we cannot underestimate the importance of chanting Hare Krishna in our life. And we should certainly have sufficient time in the day to do it. And we should have times of the year, like we're going to do my pilgrimages, we can do it more. And we should not make a plan to work until death. America is becoming a poor country. I think in 2 ways, the value of our dollar and what it can buy, it kind of sinks. But also the expertise of the corporate establishment to extract our money and create so many more needs within us. It creates so many needs. And therefore, we have to seek to fulfill those needs by giving them our money. I know everybody now buys a new car. My family never could afford a new car. They always bought a used car. But we had a 3-bedroom, 6-room house with a tenant, a 1-bedroom apartment tenant. And I know my father would bring home $200 a week. And that was sufficient. And my mother didn't have to work. She could raise the children. Anyway, after we see this Kamsa's sphere, then the demigods come and pray. It's a higher dimension, and they're more cosmically aware of our existence, which is one second for their 1 minute for their 6 months. So they kind of have and they understand when this Krishna is there, they came for their blessings, to give congratulations, etc. And then we came to the point where Krishna is about to take birth, and there are signs of good fortune. There are signs of misfortune. There are signs of good fortune. That's the science of omens. So we can see there are signs of good fortune. And it's beautiful. Rivers are flowing with lotuses, and forests, the birds are chirping, and the peacocks are dancing, and the flowers are blooming, and the wind, it's cold but not chilly, and it's carrying fragrance and this breeze. And the Brahmins, they no longer have any fear because there's signs of good fortune. Like you may be in fear, like there's a book, Jamuna's reading it and I read it. It's called The Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps. And he had a profound understanding that the real value of life is not your circumstance, it's the meaning. And that people who lost all meaning, they're the ones that died. And somehow in his mind, he figured out how to keep some kind of meaning. It's something like that. But, you know, they were in the camp, and then all of a sudden, they were liberated. So they were still in the same camp, but when they saw that the army was coming, they were relieved. There was signs of good fortune. So in the same way, there are cosmic signs of good fortune. And even though you're distressed, you can be relieved. So they had no fear. And they began to chant loudly, and the fires were burning so powerfully. And even though it was already September, which is the Indian summer, it's still some kind of Indian summer in September, it felt like spring. And even though at midnight, it was so pleasant, and the demigods were rejoicing, and flowers, and they were singing, and they were dancing. Nanda Kaya Nanda Bayo Jai Kaneya Lalki. Nanda Kaya Nanda Bayo Jai Kaneya Lalki. Jai Kaneya Lalki. Jai Kaneya Lalki. Hati Dia Gora Dia or Dia. That's when Krishna was born. That's later, and the charity is given. So, and the clouds, they weren't raining, but very pleasantly giving shade and rumbling. And then Krishna appears. Even though it's the Astami, it's the 8th day, it's like the moon that rises from the ocean. So everything is adjusted at the perfect moment. And we know, I mean, I just saw this astrological reading about 3 weeks ago, and it said that, you know, leaders will be removed, and then the leader of the UK was removed, and then the president of Sri Lanka, and then, you know, it just, there are somehow or other, this is one thing that really establishes that there's God, is that the moment and the, it's inconceivable, the moment and place you were born. The planets are in a particular constellation. And then, and that will indicate the power or deficiency of those planets in your life. And then as the constellation moves at particular times, at any time in your life, wherever it is, it's somehow reading those influences on your life. So from your birth, you can actually tell what's going to happen in the future. So what kind of force can do that? What kind of force can do that and coordinate it for every single person? You realize how complicated that is and how much power that takes? It can only be God. It can only be God. The little computer is nothing to what that does. Like right now, the constellations are in a particular place, and according to when you're born, for each person, that means a particular power and influence is less or more or combined with this, etc. Every single person is coordinated. And the interactions of those persons are coordinated. That's why Lord Brahma is called Adi Kavya, the original genius. And he's just a expansion of Krishna, a living entity empowered by Krishna. And he creates this mechanical moving universe with all the planets, and it's inconceivable. It is God. Any reasonable person that's actually committed to the scientific theory will have to come to the conclusion of God by studying the science of astrology. There's no other explanation. The probability of that happening by chance is astronomical, astronomical, astronomical times astronomical times astronomical. And every moment that the world moves, it's astronomical times astronomical. And now the fact that I am speaking in a logical way, or one word comes after another, and that's also by chance, and that's also astronomically impossible. Every moment, every action by every person that has any sense and any order, it increases the improbability that everything is happening by chance. There is intelligence, and it's so infinitely supreme. We can only look at that as God. So then, Krishna appears, and the real sense here of Krishna appearing is that he's not ordinary. He's not ordinary. And Prabhupada makes this point so many times because he's very wonderful and he's lotus-like eyes, but has 4 hands and 4 weapons, and his chest is marked with Shrivas, and his neck the brilliant Kastuba gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish like dense cloud, full hair. Which child has full hair? When children are first born, they're generally not attractive at all, just in the eyes of the mother. How cute. But they look like old men. Little children look like old men. And his helmet and earrings, sparkling, gems, decorated. And then we see the reaction. We see the reaction of the father. He's experiencing great wonder, abhuta, which is inspiring not only his parental feelings, but very strongly mixed with dasyaras, wonder. He's seeing that this is not ordinary, this is my Lord. And then Vasudeva saw his extraordinary son. His eyes were struck with wonder and transcendental jubilation. He mentally collected 10,000 cows and distributed them among the Brahmins as a transcendental festival. So actually right now we're getting into rasa, how love is heightened by lila, which invokes emotions and brings the emotions to rasa, which is the highest love and the highest pleasure. Rasa Vai Saha, the ultimate reality, is a drama. Because in drama, emotion comes to its height. And that's reflected from the spiritual world, which was a drama that brings emotion to its height. And what emotion but bhakti ras, and what is the pleasure of God? The essence of the Ladini Shakti, the pleasure potency, is this Krishna prema, this devotion to the highest degree. So what is Vasudeva feeling? And we should want to have such feelings of intense devotion. What is he having? What kind of feelings of devotion is he having? What kind of intense feelings of devotion is he having? Incredible feelings. Oh, Krishna. Wow, how beautiful. What is the beauty of God? If we're attracted by beauty, and beauty is coming from God, he's the source of all beauty, and he manifests his beauty to help invoke our love. What is it when we actually have Premanjana Charita Bhakti Valochanena Santassadaiva Diyeshu Valok, when we actually have that prema covering our eyes? What is that prema? What does it look like? So he starts shivering, which is increasing his emotion. And then, as the father, he develops a mood of chivalry. I will give charity, but he's in the prison, so what can he do? He does it in the mind. The mind is material. If you actually have a controlled mind, there's no difference between the service in the mind and the actual service. There's no difference. So he does it in the mind and he gives charity. Just like when a son is born previous in a family, I know it's not like that. But my father had sons and he had to buy cigars and he handed out cigars. And it was his parental feeling manifest indirectly through chivalry. Have a cigar. And the devotees used to hand out chocolate cigars, but now in the modern world, this is not the system. Okay, so stop. Let's see. A little early. I have time for. I have time. Well, let's see if Jamuna Jaya is there. She can start with.
That's Maraj, I'm here.
Okay.
There's two things I really quite stuck out to me. One was that last question, like, what is the beauty of God? I was like, kind of like, wow, we read in the Bhagavad Gita all the, I'm the this of the that, and then just trying to picture it. And so that was just such a great meditation. Like, what is the beauty of God? If you said a few weeks ago, to know God is to love God, and to do these, I love these meditations of the rasa because it gives me such a picture. I love that. And then I love the very stark comment you said that one should not aspire to work until death. And I find myself working so hard and seeing other people's around me that I'm like, that was a good meditation for that I shouldn't aspire just to keep working, then just drop over one day.
So. Well, modern world is a really tricky one to apply Krishna consciousness. Because it's hard to think like you stop working in New York or New Jersey and you're stuck in your apartment all day. Well, no, but you can preach, you can do devotional things, spend time at the Bhakti Center. But the modern world is such that once you stop working, then you got to get a shopping cart and a cardboard paper and write Vanaprastha devotee. Donations accepted. You can stay on 6th Avenue. I think people will give, But if it's our internal aspiration, then somehow maybe more can happen. But I'm just seeing this. People just have to. My father was able to retire. My mother was able to retire. Now, what do you get? $1,000 Social Security? What is?
Yeah, where I live in New Jersey, the New York Times said it was the most in New Jersey, not even Manhattan, is the most expensive for rental rates just last week.
Right. What is that? It's Jersey City and
Jersey
Hoboken.
City. Yeah, and Hoboken. Yeah.
Hoboken. I mean, the birthplace of Yadunath. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but somehow or other Krishna will protect his devotees. But they have to have the right objective and the right idea because my father was able to retire. Of course, my mother had this successful business, this shop, but then they closed it all up and they give, the money lasted my mother, 20, 25 years. And then there was absolutely nothing left. Bless her soul. Okay, thank you. See my nice tan from, I go out and I it's really great. I wake up early and I chant a lot before this. Now I'll chant again more. Right here, it's like almost 5:30. I'll chant more. Then I'll take breakfast and I'll just chant more. And then I'll sit out in the sun. But the crime here is 45,000 homeless people. And there was a robbery by gunpoint in front of the temple by one of the housing complexes they have. They wanted someone's keys, a lady's keys. I described because she was Russian. She fought them, but they still got the keys and took the car away. So, is always a pinch in paradise. But, I'm not a have a nice day man. The culture of here, have a nice day, that doesn't turn me on. I want real, authentic people in New York who tell you how they feel. Okay, Julia Jaya. Okay, anybody else like to say hello? Gail, you have anything?
Yeah, actually, thank you, Maharaj. When you're explaining how there must be a God, right? And you see how various aspects of nature come together. So, the inconceivability, is exponential by exponential. I was wondering, you've explained this many times, and one time I really got the exponential by exponential. I was wondering if you could spell it out for me again.
Yeah, it's something like this. If you don't believe in God, then you believe everything happens by chance, right? And therefore, everything that's together and orderly and beautiful and keeps on coming that way is by chance, right?
Yeah.
The improbability of that happening is astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
But every single time that something happens in order, what's the chance of it, right? If it's orderly, then what's the chance that I say another sentence that makes sense, right? So it exponentially increases it's like winning the lottery again and again. 1 in 350 million chances. So it's 1 in a billion trillion chances that I will say something, if it's by chance, that happens to fit in, right? And everyone's doing that. So what's the chance of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, you can meditate you can go in a cave now with a candle and meditate on it.
Yes, I will too.
What?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else like to say hello? I've looked at all the people, so I know you're here. That doesn't mean you have to say hello. It means that don't worry about saying hello, because I recognize that you're here and you're in my mind. But if anybody else would like to say hello, they're welcome to say hello.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Tota Gopinath here.
Okay. We'll see you on Sunday, right?
Yes. I'm feeling a little self-conscious not having a retirement plan. I mean, in my family, the tradition is we retire when we die. So far, I've been following that. I mean, what do I do? I got to change things up.
I think it's all in the chanting. Krishna will do something. I think Krishna's going to force retirement.
All right.
We'll all have to go to Gopa's farm.
Let's go.
Okay. He can give us. He has 70 acres. He can give us an acre of land on the hill. We'll just grow vegetables. Okay.
Haribo.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class.
Hey, Gopi Gita. Okay, we're all here. We're going to have such a week of devotional activity, and then I'll be there for 3 weeks. So that's great.
Yeah, we are here. Thank you.
So you have to be there to assist me.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Okay, all right, because for the ashram they'll be so busy, etc. And Trump will be here, but then she leaves after 2 weeks, and so you'll have a lot of service.
Of course. Thank you. It's great.
Okay, Haribo.
Haribo.
Anybody else?
Krishna Gamaraj, Slow Govinda.
Ambrosia, thank you for class.
Haribo. I'm trying to figure out who Lal looks like now. It's some kind of character he looks like so much, but I can't be in my mind. People used to say that I look like Robert De Niro. Many people said that. I had one famous actress in Croatia. She was coming to my classes. People say, I don't know. I didn't know who Robert De Niro was, but maybe when I was younger, 10 years ago.
Yeah, for a look.
Okay.
See you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Narmasaki here.
Haribo, you know, I met
Thank
your
you.
sister. She must have sent you the pictures, did she?
Yeah, she did. She was very grateful and appreciated. Thank you for having her.
And I was eating the sweet lemons and all the goodies she gave me. Somehow she found some nice Iranian things. But she's a special soul. She's really an extraordinary person, you know?
Yeah,
The
I
level of
appreciate it.
her surrender and positive attitude in the challenges of her circumstance are just extraordinary.
Yeah.
God's going to bless her for sure. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna
Gurudev.
Maharaj.
Sri Radhika, Haribo. Good.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thanks for the class.
Thank you for being one of the steady ones. I appreciate. I note that. And you took initiation, and now you're steady. You hear from the Guru. That's good. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yavat Sundari here.
Yavat
Thank you very much.
Sundari, please feel better. Haribo.
Yeah, I'm much better. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you.
The best mother and daughter combination spiritual Rasika names in the world.
Oh, thank you, Maharaj.
Yavat Sundari and Surya Radhika. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else say hello?
Good morning. I'm Donna. How are you?
All right, Min. Hare Krishna. And also,
thank you so much.
And thank you for also being this steady, because you can't be a teacher without students. You can't be a speaker without an audience. So I'm always grateful to the people that do that.
It makes me feel so happy to come and hear you speak.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Great. Okay. I guess I will head out now. Let me just see one thing. Someone comments that Lal's. Okay, Nana Kaylee says it looks great. Lal's. Okay, Haribo. Vanchakalpa Tubhyasha, Kripasinubhyasha, Pratikampa.